Well, we're back in the UK. Border checks were pretty minimal, so that's all good. And you know, we had to fill out some forms and stuff like that and comply with the rules.
You do, yes. Just fill them in.
That's all done.
Yeah.
And we're now free to move around, so that's good. There we are. So we're back in this beautiful sunny place. The weather in the UK is gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah.
Hottest day for a lot of years, 17 years or something recently. So you know that perks us up a bit. Yeah.
And it's absolutely been full up here with campers and caravans and tents. It's lovely. Everyone's having such a nice time because you've got the lakes, the little country walks, and the wildlife.
And more importantly, we've got the MOT coming up.
Yeah.
So we're going. I'll talk more about that
a
bit later on in this video about all the work that we've got to do before the MOT is done. We're of course going back to A&E Leisure, the favourite place to get all our work done.
Yes.
But more about that a bit later.
And just want to say, Pippin is
back to normal.
Well, you've just got the bandage on. We do it ourselves now. Dress her leg, and she's making good progress.
Here's a little picture of how she is. Her open. Well, it's not an open wound anymore, but the wound site. Yeah.
So show that.
Yeah, yes. That's how it is. Looking pretty good. Well, we're back in the UK for the MOT, and one or two little repairs that have got to be done. We had two front tyres put on last year. Very good service through Black Circles, good price, and done at a local tyre fitter that they pointed us towards. They delivered the tyres, people fitted them, all great. One of the things picked up then, just before last year's MOT, was the constant velocity joint, and that's the bit that connects the gearbox drive shaft to the wheel, and it's sort of like a ball and socket joint, allows the wheel to turn while still rotating the wheel. It's called a CV joint, and there's a rubber boot that goes over that that keeps all the moisture out, keeps all the rain and grit and dirt out, and keeps all the grease in, so it all stays nicely lubricated. All the grease had come out. The guy at the tyre fitters cleaned up the wheel and said that you're going to have that replaced. So it was going in the next day actually for the service and MOT at a garage down in Lewes in Sussex. So they replaced that, did the service, did the MOT, and while we've been, since then we've driven maybe 8,000, maybe 10,000 miles, something like that. So we've been parked up in Sweden for 4 months, but when I drove away from Rosjöbaden in Sweden and turned the steering wheel, there was a really loud sort of cracking noise, something that I was sort of familiar with way back from the 1970s and 80s, when CV joints would regularly go on the old cars I was running back then, and I would do the mechanics myself, but on a big van like this, not possible. So I got underneath, investigated a bit while I was in Bushy in France, and sure enough, that rubber boot that they'd replaced last year is completely dry inside. So I pushed it right down. It's all sealed up, but I pushed it right down, and you'd normally expect to see a little bit of grease on the shaft that it covers, but it was absolutely dry as a bone. So either the grease has come out again, or they didn't put any in. So there you go. So CV joint to be replaced, that's all booked in with those lovely people at A&E Leisure, up here in Northwich, really near the Anderton boat lift. If you're local, completely recommend them. And even if you've got to drive a few miles, well worth it, well worth a visit. So they're going to do that. They're going to replace that CV joint. The fridge is like so on the blink, it's not true. It'll work, it won't work, it'll work, it won't work. I've sort of worked out that it works better on electric, so 240 volt is working great. 12 volt, you just as well forget it. And on gas, it's getting a bit cold, but not much. Sometimes it will give up the ghost on electric as well. So it's in and out, and it seems like when it's had a rest, then it can sort of rejuvenate itself or spark back into life. So while we were driving back, it failed, and I switched it off for a week and then just tried it again. Sure enough, it's working, the freezer's working, but only on 240 volt. So it obviously needs a damn good service, I would say, and quite a bit of checking out. The 240 volt element, which is a sort of a metal heating element, about that long, maybe about 9 inches long, was replaced a couple of years ago under warranty, so that probably should work, which it does mostly. So I'm hoping they can get that sorted out. I've still got the blown out or the shorted out electrical connection behind the Sargent unit for the electric heating of the water. So it's the electric water heater that doesn't work. I've got the repair kit. So fiddly. I decided that it was just too bothersome for me to have a go at, especially while we're living in the van. I didn't want to get it wrong and sort of have no electric for another day while I try and get it. And while you're traveling around, it's not that easy to find the bits that you need in foreign DIY shops. Over here, probably know where to go. Places like Screwfix, Home Base, and that sort of local electrical suppliers and stuff like that. They're more familiar to me. So, but it's more difficult to get what you'd want over in places like Sweden, Spain, France. More difficult because I'm not used to it, not because they don't do it maybe, but because I'm just not used to it. So that's the MOT. So the MOT is being done. We're parked up here until we drive it to there, and then hopefully all will be well. I've another little thing. While we were driving back, we spent that sort of couple of weeks getting back to where we were. My diet, my food intake wasn't all that great. We had to stock up with food and take enough food with us before we left Sweden. A little bit of a stock up in France, I think, because of all the quarantine thing. So we had a lot of stock food, but tins and dried food and pasta and stuff like that, not the greatest food for my gallbladder problem, where I have to have a hepatobiliary protection diet, which is lots of fresh fruit, green leafy vegetables, very low fat meat, low fat dairy, all that sort of stuff. So and no condiments like ketchup, vinegars, stuff like that. That can all sort of flare it up. And sure enough, about a week ago, from when I'm recording this, I had quite a bad flare up, and that's not happened for 6 months. So I've been very careful what I've been eating, and being quite good about it. But it has just been painful, you know, because I've been eating the wrong things. I know it, and all of the same symptoms, not as bad, but all of the same symptoms that I had when I was back in Spain. So the gallbladder problem's not gone away, but I've been keeping it under control, and it you know, as I say, I had this flare up a few days back, and I've been on a really strict low fat diet, you know, high in fibre diet, which has started, fingers crossed, started to put me back on the right side of it. So today I've been feeling rough for 3 or 4 days, you know, really very low intake of food, no appetite and that sort of stuff, and that's been awful, especially in this beautiful hot English weather. This is you know, beautiful hot summer, and you know, so I'm getting back to where I should be. I'm eating more very small meals, so I'm eating about 5 or 6 times a day, just small bits. So I'll have a wholemeal roll with maybe a little bit of marmalade in the morning with a cup of coffee, and then and that, you know, that'll be about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then maybe about 11 I'll have some fruit, maybe an apple or some of those nice tinned pears and stuff like that. There's all the stuff that they would have served me in hospital in Spain, and then at lunchtime I'll have another wholemeal roll with some, maybe well, today I had tuna, bit of tuna with tomato, no spreads at all, no butter, no margarine, and more tea. I'm drinking more chamomile tea, more sort of herbal teas from the Lord Nelson range in, I think it's Lidl's do those, and I'm drinking the sort of Relax blend and the Sleep Well blend and the Rooibos tea as well, which I quite like, which we've now reverted to calling Red Bus tea because it's easier to say. So I'm doing all of that, and I'm starting to feel a lot better, hoping upon hope that I don't have to call 111 or even worse 999 for an ambulance, as I did back in Spain. You know, I really don't want to go through the operation to remove my gallbladder if I can possibly help it. Although people say, you know, it doesn't affect you, it just, you know, it just is. But I just don't want to go to hospital. I don't want to have sort of the operation. You know, they say it's a laparoscopic, so they punch 2 holes in your stomach, because it's top right hand quadrant of your abdomen is where the gallbladder is, just underneath rib cage on the right hand side, and they sort of go in there with a camera and a grabber and just whiz that out. So, you know, pretty quick outpatient operation apparently, but I'd rather not go anywhere near hospitals at the moment. So there we are. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing. We're here at the Belmont Hall, as you would have already seen. Some beautiful scenery around here. We're not doing much. We can't go out that much, so we're just having a few little walks around, and you know, getting used to. I think we might actually get the bus into Warrington.
This is a porter puzzle thing, so it means if you're in a van or wherever you are, and you haven't got much table space, you can do puzzles wherever you are. So I'll just show you, but you open it up, and then you've got these 2 little boards which you could do 500 piece puzzles on if you want to. And as you can see, I'm in the middle of doing one, and you just fold it up and it looks like a suitcase, and you can see that the puzzle still stayed pretty much as I want it to be. None of the pieces are broken or anything, so you can, you know, just if you put it on your dining table at home, then you can just fold it up when you're done. This puzzle has taken me, and Steve helps me, a long time, because it's one of these. Oh, let me show you this side first. It's called it's jigsaw backwards anyway, and it's 1,000 pieces. So this picture is not what the puzzle is going to be. Some of it is, but not all of it. I think the big circle in the middle's changed, so you don't know what you're making, and it's really taken me a long time, but I really enjoy these sort of puzzles. I've done them in 500 before, so that's keeping us very busy. And the other things I like to do while we're in the van is I still like to crochet a lot, but I haven't been able to do so much because this arm's been so bad. But I'm doing this oh, there it is, there's my hook. This is like you're working with 3 balls of wool at one time. So I thought I'd start this off. You can make it with 5 different colour balls. So I thought, well, I'll give this a try with the 3 I've got, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's another thing I've been doing. But I got these all these from when we was abroad, so I won't be able to get the equivalent in England. So might change the colours, or I might just get 5 new balls from like Poundland or something and give it another go. So I really enjoy that. That's great. I love crocheting. Oh, and the other thing, I was going to learn to knit, but I haven't started that yet. And of course, I've got my love of reading. I still read. Now, this one I've just finished, Erica James, and I've not read any of her books before, but she's very she writes a lot, and I think she's quite famous, and I'd definitely, if I saw any more, I'd read some of hers. And the other one I've just read is this one by Abby Clements. That was nice too. Sort of summary reads they are. And I've also joined, it's on YouTube, there's a channel called Caroline, Mrs. M, and I've joined her book club. So every month, it's not possible for me to buy the books, but we belong to Audible, so I download the books that are the book club of the month, and it certainly is a good thing to do because it makes you read books you wouldn't, listen to books you wouldn't normally. And it's a new thing for me, and I find it so relaxing. So that's the other thing I've been doing. And the days just fly by. You know, you think you might get bored, but you don't.